Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 84 of Bank to the Future Live. We seem to have a couple of links out there, so we're just going to make sure that you're on the right link. We're having some strange behavior on YouTube where it keeps creating two streams, but hey, show must go on. So we're on episode 84, and last week in the return episode of Bank to the Future Live, we promised that we were going to be sharing a new announcement with a partnership with the largest cryptocurrency exchange by volume in the world. And today we released that. So we're going to be discussing that as the main topic today, as well as giving lots of the Bank to the Future investor updates on many of the companies that you've been investing in over the years. It's been an incredibly busy time. Although we're not doing new pitches live, we've just been focused on delivering returns, delivering more trading volume on our secondary markets, and working on some deep integrations, partnerships, additional license applications, and all sorts of stuff that we were sharing last week. So we're going to have the Slido board as usual, just before we jump into the main topic. So this is your opportunity to get your questions answered. Azad is moderating. He's probably sharing some of the links so that those who are on the other YouTube link will get this link. But you can see the Slido board right there. It should be shared on your screen right now. If you're on your phone, feel free to click that QR code and you can ask questions, or you can upvote other people's questions if you don't have any questions, but you'd like to see other people's questions answered. We're going to be going through those. So throughout this broadcast, please add your questions there. Also, Azad, how do they actually get if they go over to sli.do, what have they got to put in? Is it BF? What have you got to put in?
BF2. So you can go to slido.com
BF2
and enter the code BF2.
Okay, so if you're not scanning the QR code, just head over to sli.do and in the box put BF2, and that will take you right over to this board where we will be answering your questions later. So those are all the different things. And then in the description, we'll also make sure that you can get that link to the Slido board in case you are watching this live. So jump straight in, the Binance partnership. So we are very excited to announce this is something we've been working on for months, a deep integration into Binance. I did a quick demo of what it looks like on our side last week without revealing details of the partnership, because the feature is now live on BnkToTheFuture.com. So this allows our investors to really easily convert their Bitcoin, their stable coins, and their Ether into each other. So we've got a new way of onboarding. And the great thing about this is many people are asking, is this just for qualifying investors? Well, this is our first stage of opening up the platform beyond just qualifying investors. So for those of you very familiar with Bank to the Future, you'll know that you have to qualify, and securities laws are particularly restrictive and they vary in every jurisdiction around the world. So we've worked relentlessly over the last decade to open up the platform to as many investors as we can compliantly can. But when you're investing in equity, the securities laws, they have restrictions depending on your jurisdiction. So we've been working jurisdiction by jurisdiction to update our Bank to the Future identity solution, BFID, which is where you can onboard, you can verify, and you can ensure whether you are a investor that's able to invest in equity. Well, now thanks to our virtual asset registration, and you can now buy Bitcoin, Ether, and stable coins directly from within the platform and trade them between each other. And we're working with Binance in a partnership in order to make that feature available and deeply integrated into the Bank to the Future platform. Now, for me, this is a feature that I've wanted for a long time. The reason for that is because often there's a couple of things, there's a couple of use cases that this allows us to do. Firstly, people can come to the platform, they can deposit their fiat currency, they can go to the fund section, and any currency that's on the Swift network, which is hundreds of currencies around the world, you can bank wire those funds in, and it will automatically get converted into dollars. So you can very easily onboard, and then we'll automatically convert those into a stable coin. So it's a really easy way of onboarding into the crypto space. Now, any non-US investor is able to do that. This is not a feature that we're able to offer to our US investors. That's still accredited investors and securities only at this stage. But any non-US investor is able to deposit funds to their account, send a bank wire, and it will go straight into a stable coin. And now you can take those stable coins, not only invest in companies, either new primary offerings where new companies raise finance through our platform, like some of the deals we've got coming up, about 5 new deals that are working through due diligence right now. And one of the biggest ones that's publicly announced is Celsius in their next and upcoming funding round, or on our secondary market where you can buy shares from other investors looking to sell those shares and gain exposure to many of the largest companies in crypto through our special structure. But now you can also buy Bitcoin and Ether. And when those companies pay returns, you receive whatever. What we do is we pass on the currency that those returns are received in. So recently, Exodus, one of our portfolio companies that we funded right in their early seed stage, when no venture capitalist was interested in investing, now they've just sold out a $75 million funding round. And the investors on our platform are receiving a 158x return if they decided to sell some of those shares, because some of the liquidity was made available for existing investors. So those that voted to receive that, the returns were paid in Bitcoin, and we are working through the process at the moment of calculating exactly how many shares were sold versus how many are kept. The exchange rates with Bitcoin. But the point is that returns are paid out in Bitcoin. Now, some of you might want to lock in some of that into a stable coin and then withdraw it as fiat to your bank account, no problem. Others of you might want to convert that into Ether because you believe that the prospects of Ether in the current bull market are greater than Bitcoin. And some of you might want to take some of the dollar returns that are being paid. So many of you have been receiving dividends recently from Bitcoin Capital 3 as a result of its Kraken investment. And now you can take those USD dollars and you can very easily, with the Binance integration, convert those into Bitcoin or convert those into Ether, which gives you maximum flexibility when you're determining how to do that. The second use case is sometimes we have a bit of a confusing user experience because of all these regulations. Sometimes the companies, so for example, we currently have a Series B allocation in the securitized round that is only available to existing investors. Now, we have a very short time frame, so securitized investors will be sending you out some messages on how to exercise the preemption rights that you've been voting for, which gives you an allocation in the upcoming rounds. We often have to do a quick round where we have to gather all of the commitments very quickly, and the company may just not be accepting currency risk. So they may not be in a position to accept Bitcoin or to accept Ether. So we have to auto convert those into a stable coin so that we can ensure that we get the correct number of shares and we don't have the currency risk based upon the volatility at the time. So those are in the background. We have the auto convert feature so that we can manage these faster funding rounds where the companies can't accept currency risk. And it's always been a problem where someone might have some Bitcoin on the platform. They want to invest it in a pitch that's not doing auto convert. But now the new feature means that you can take that Bitcoin, you can convert it very easily from within the platform to dollars, and then you can invest that in the pitch really easily and really simply. So that's a nice feature that we're able to release thanks to this integration. We were working with the Binance team to become a broker partner and the partnership for many months, and we've been really looking forward to releasing this feature on top of the other virtual assets. So prior to this, we were always allowed people to purchase BnkToTheFuture tokens through the platform. And we look forward to seeing what we can do about deeper integrations with other features on the platform. So we hope that you like this feature. To get details on upcoming announcements, remember on BnkToTheFuture.com, you can just click the announcements tab. And on that announcements tab, you can see all the latest announcements on there. We've just released 3 new announcements on there. The first one was where you can get a recording where we demoed the feature last week on Bank to the Future Live episode 83. So you can find that on the announcements tab. We also have full details on the press release. And just now we've released an article with a step-by-step guide on how to use this feature so that you can log into your account, test it out, and just follow the guide really simply. The first time you do it, you may want to have a look at that guide, but it also should be self-explanatory on that as well. So Azad's showing here the different announcements. So you head over to announcements, and here's the step-by-step guide. You head over to the fund section of your account, and there's a little demo of the different screens, and we've got 9 different steps where you can see each and every step by step. So you head over to the fund section, you click on manage, and in the manage, it gives a bit of a description about how we hold funds on Bank to the Future to add some more transparency to that process. And then when you click on that, you can deposit some funds. For example, if you're trying to offboard, get rid of your fiat currency out of the banking system and into crypto, then you can do that. You can select which currency you're sending, whether it's pounds, Australian dollars, US dollars, and any currency supported by Swift. It will be auto-converted once you send it. Once you've got those dollars on your account, then you'll see them displayed in the fund section. Unfortunately, the banking system is slow, so you've got to wait for those Swift payments to come through. And then when you click manage, you'll see all these options: buy, withdraw, sell. If you click on the sell, you're selling your dollars and you're buying some Bitcoin, for example, as we can see in this demo. And then you can enter the amount of dollars that you wish to sell, the currency you'd like to buy, whether that's Bitcoin or ETH or Bank to the Future tokens. And then it will give you a live exchange rate through the Binance integration. And then you can have an order confirmation. Remember, these trades are final. So make sure that you don't confirm any trade that you don't want, because there's no way to reverse that. That goes right into the Binance platform. Then you can confirm that. We get the best rates out there. And then you get an order confirmation, and you can see all of the confirmations, all the trade history directly from within your Bank to the Future account. So again, I hope you enjoy that feature. As we also said, here's the press release where we give full details of the ability to have your exit proceeds, your returns, your distributions in the currency that you choose, being able to deposit with fiat currency, enter into stable coins, and withdraw as stable coins or fiat currency. So the payment rails are all being built within the Bank to the Future account. And as we said, these are all held on trust and segregated so that you get maximum protection for those funds on Bank to the Future to try and drive some more protection from the banking system. Holding it in trust means that at a bank, when funds are held at a bank, they become the legal owner. They can spend them as they choose, and they can lever them up. At a trust, they have to be completely segregated and legally in the name of the investor. So we like to do that via trust structures. So that's the Binance announcements, and hope we look forward to seeing what else we can do with Binance into the future as that partnership develops. And I'm just going to pick out some of the other important announcements. There was a BitSo announcement. We invested in the seed round at Bank to the Future. They've just done a Series C. We also did the Series A, and that is at a $2.2 billion valuation. So another unicorn added to the unicorn list at Bank to the Future. Congratulations to all investors. We are going to be suspending the market temporarily because there was a company restructuring, and we need to complete additional legal work whereby those that have 1 share ended up with 100 shares. So we'll be sorting all of that out. It means it has no impact in terms of how many shares you have and the value of those, because it's just simply they issued 100 shares for every share, and then they reduced the share price by 100. But as of later in this week, we're going to have to suspend that market temporarily while we issue all those shares and work through the making sure everything's up to date there. But $2.2 billion valuation. In the investor zone, we're not being able to give the full updates on share prices and number of shares yet because it was a slightly more complicated deal. And so all of you BitSo investors will be making sure that we update you on that. And congratulations, another unicorn for the Bank to the Future portfolio. We mentioned securitized Series B. We can't reveal details. That's very confidential, just for existing investors. But those of you that voted are going to be sent details on how to claim your preemption rights. We're just working with the securitized deal to get the actual allocation confirmed. And then we'll be releasing a private pitch. Do remember, you're under NDA when you invested. The team is very, they want to make sure that some of these details are left confidential. So please do not harm your investments by releasing more than than is meant. In terms of Exodus, we received the Bitcoin, and now we're just working with the Exodus team to calculate exactly how many shares were sold, how many left remaining, and then they're going to be updating us on what happens to the existing shares and the security token conversion process. Exodus team and our legal team are working through those details right now. That's going to take a little bit more time before we pay out those Bitcoin. But we have received the Bitcoin, and we're working through the allocations and calculations with the Exodus team now. The Coinbase shares, update on that. We have now finally received a brokerage account that can receive those shares after dealing with the Coinbase brokerage via all these middle people that happen in traditional finance rather than securities token and blockchain assets. And so we are now in a position to receive those. We are just dealing with the broker who is completing all of the due diligence checks on all the investors. Once we receive it, we have the account open right now. They're going through the details so that they can send those over. Once we receive it, we'll be sending over the set letter so that you can swap out your private shares for public shares. And remember, in preparation, make sure you have a brokerage account. And that is a brokerage or account that can receive NASDAQ listed US shares. You will need to get a DTC number from your broker, and that will be included, that you will need to complete that in. Because these shares are held in custody, make sure you prepare for that, because if you leave them in the custody account, they end up incurring fees, and you want to get them over to yourself as fast as possible. So that's an update to Coinbase investors. Full details will be sent to you in the settlement agreement. What else have we got? Scenario. They went through a liquidation process while they still held lots of their assets. So look out on the investor zone. We're going to be, as soon as we have those audit reports and finalized details, then as soon as we receive those funds from the scenario team, we will share any of the reports that they share with us. And then they decided to take some of those assets, and there's been through an auditor and liquidator, so that you can receive whatever assets are left over pro rata to your allocation. So the scenario payouts will be coming as soon as we get those updates. And those are all the main updates that we have for you. So now let's move over to the next segment, which is where we answer your questions on the Slido live chat. So just before we jump into those, Azad, let's pull up the Slido board just in case somebody joined slightly late. If you're on the YouTube live chat, we're not taking questions there. You have to send them over to this Slido board. You can hit the QR code if you're on your phone, or you can use the links in the descriptions that Azad will be sharing. You can head over to sli.do and put in BF2, and that will take you right over to where you can upvote other people's questions or get your questions answered. So we're going to answer as many questions as we can fit in. We are on the 25-minute mark, so we'll see if we can fit in all the questions. For the first time, we finished all the questions last week, so hopefully we can get through all of those right now. So Azad, what have we got?
Yep. First question from BTC Kyle. Will the BFT token be listed on Binance International and Binance US?
We haven't got any confirmation from Binance on that right now. This is the first stage of our partnership. They have very independent teams. I remember messaging CZ, and CZ said, I'm not involved in the process. It has to be done through completely independently, and they segregate all of those. That would be great. Binance, we'd love to see that, and we'd love to see the team. It makes a lot of sense. We'd love to see that happen. We've got no confirmation at this stage.
Okay, second question is from Anonymous. What changes can we expect to the platform with this partnership? Will Binance restrict investments to accredited investors only?
So the Binance is not setting the parameters. It's still the BnkToTheFuture identity that sets the parameters. But if you want to onboard into take your money out of the bank and convert those to stablecoins, and then convert between Bitcoin, Ether, then that can be done whether you are an accredited investor or not. If later you want to take some of those funds and you want to invest them into companies, then if you're from the US, you would need to be an accredited investor. So now this is the first stage of opening up the BnkToTheFuture platform to non-accredited investors. Now, accredited is a bit of a misleading term because it's not open to US, this feature at this stage, and accredited is a US term only. Accredited investors does not exist outside of the US. And so it's depending on your local jurisdiction, but you don't need to be a certified, qualified investor in your jurisdiction. That is the definition of being able to invest in shares and securities. This is opening up to a much, much wider audience on BnkToTheFuture. So that removes that restriction and just trying to get that a bit clearer, because the word accredited gets used as if it exists outside US, but that is a US term.
Does the partnership include advertising on Binance's end to push investors to BnkToTheFuture?
At this stage, it's just the platform integration and what we demonstrated to you. We don't have any advertising agreement or anything like that. No, this is just the brokerage partnership agreement and the deep integration.
Was this partnership in replacement of BnkToTheFuture building their own security token exchange?
We have shelved the project of launching our security token exchange. We are favoring our retirement planning product that's way more complementary to BnkToTheFuture. The security token exchange we didn't think was appropriate this year, so we have shelved that product and we are not planning on launching that. Also, it was very unpopular amongst many of our BnkToTheFuture token holders that didn't want to see security tokens competing with utility tokens. The BnkToTheFuture utility token, the BnkToTheFuture token, we heard from our community of token holders. They didn't like that, so we decided to shelf the BnkToTheFuture security token project. They're completely different things, but people didn't want the confusion of two tokens, so we decided not to move forward with that project. This isn't really a replacement. We're focusing on our retirement products, and one of the first phases of our retirement products was giving people a really easy way to invest in Bitcoin, Ether, and stablecoin. The next phase for that is launching our retirement plan B structure, whereby anyone can have a tax efficient structure to build their retirement plans, invest through BnkToTheFuture, invest in cryptocurrencies, and lend them out through further partnerships. We've got a couple more partnerships that we're currently working on that we will be announcing in the coming weeks in order to complete that. This is just the first phase of what we're up to at BnkToTheFuture. We've been very, very busy doing this. And the security token project, we don't have a release date. We don't plan on doing it at this stage. And we would like the security token and exchange market to mature a lot more before we actually consider dusting that one off the shelf. We think that there's many interesting things happening in the decentralized side on that space as well. So we are waiting for that area to mature a bit more and focusing on what our investors wanted a lot more than security tokens. Next question.
Question from Sybil. How does this partnership with Binance affect BnkToTheFuture Global?
So if you are a BF Global shareholder, then this is additional services for our investors. It opens up the platform to a much wider audience, and it brings over additional revenue streams because although we give the best rates on Binance, we also get a little kickback and fee that's charged there. So it adds new revenue streams to BF Global. If you are a shareholder, we have over 850 shareholders from our community of investors that are also shareholders in our company and our growth. So it adds additional partnerships there. And it's also one of the first phases in order to build out the complete retirement plan B solution that glues all of our different products together. So then we can start working on additional utility for the BnkToTheFuture token as we roll out these products.
Question from Anonymous. Will it be possible to do the same with other tokens that are both on Binance and BnkToTheFuture, for instance, storage to USDT?
Possible, but at this stage, we don't have any plans on doing that at this stage. At the moment, we're just focusing on the cryptocurrencies that regulators don't necessarily consider securities. Because then this is opening up to a much wider audience. And therefore, we need to be a bit more precautious with those. But if that is a feature you would like to see in the future, then we can explore that into the roadmap. We've got a very aggressive roadmap, including portfolio rebuilding, additional regulatory updates that we need to integrate into BnkToTheFuture, identity as regulations are getting much, much harsher and stricter, and those require updates, and also rolling out the deep integration of retirement plan B into the BnkToTheFuture platform. That occupies us for the next year or so. In terms of working on these features, they won't get priorities, but we are expanding the development team as we speak. And we have been onboarding new members to the development team in order to increase the efficiency and capacity of our technical team, as we've got so much we want to do and just not enough manpower to do it at this stage.
What does this partnership mean for the future of security tokens? Will BnkToTheFuture run STOs with direct listings on Binance shortly after?
We are doing, at the moment, we do security token offerings through our platform. There is no plans on us doing security token offerings through Binance at this stage of the partnership. This is simply a platform integration so that we can enhance our services, but we have already been doing security token offerings. We did the Exordium security token offering. We did the lottery.com security token offering. We also are shareholders and in Securitize, as was discussed earlier, that is deeply focused in security token offerings. As more and interesting security token offering projects go live, we've been selling them out with our investor community at this stage. That's the stage we know. I don't think Binance want to do securities as far as we know. We're not privy to that information, but I do know that there was some announcements around regulators exploring their products that look very similar to securities. And so they have to be very careful there to ensure that Binance doesn't accidentally become a security token exchange, which, as you know, with the restrictions on BnkToTheFuture, can be very, very restricting in terms of who can participate.
Will you be learning anything from the success of the BNB token?
The which token?
BNB. I think that's the Binance token.
Oh, the Binance token, BNB token. Well, the Binance token is very, very successful. but it wasn't listed on many exchanges for a long time because buybacks are often associated with securities because people start investing them as investments. So if you tried to get a buyback listed on Binance itself, they would probably reject it because they consider that close to a security. So there's a lot to learn from it. But if you want the token listed on cryptocurrency exchanges, then you have to not be a security. And so the lesson there is that if you own your own exchange, then you can also be a bit more lax on the rules. But if you're trying to get your token listed on a cryptocurrency exchange, then if you replicate some of the features of the Binance token, you end up not having the ability for your token to be listed on cryptocurrency exchanges. So really the lesson is build your own exchange. So if we're to learn from that, then it's about building your own exchange in order to offer services that make it closer to a security, because many of these cryptocurrency exchanges are not licensed to be able to trade security tokens. So we'll see as the security token industry grows, what problems that can solve moving into the future.
Well, when will you accept debit and or credit card payments to the platform?
We accept them on pitches right now, but our trust partner is working on card payments. The problem with card payments is they're ultra expensive. So if you're dealing with anything to do with crypto and card payments, then it's almost a 5% fee as the standard, which is extortion. But the reason for that is because the potential of fraud, of making investments and then charging back, is high. So as soon as our partner trust company integrates card payments, then we can add that to the roadmap. But it is already live for new primary offerings. It's not live for depositing to the platform or for investing in the secondary market, but it is live already for primary market offerings.
James asks, is it true early Celsius investors will be locked in for another year before being able to realize profits from the secondary market due to the second equity round coming up?
So I'd need to check with the legal team. I don't have the exact answer on that, but the secondary market is not necessarily there is a minimum of 1 year, but it doesn't mean we always release the secondary market after 1 year. By doing another funding round, it complicates the process. So there's a few nuances in there that we would need to check. But the Bank to the Future is illiquid investments. We offer the secondary market as a bonus, but a 1 year time frame is very short for private equity. So I imagine, and again, we are still waiting for Celsius to get back to us so that we can figure out whether we're going to be launching that pitch. We have made agreements, but we're still waiting for additional details there. So we don't have those details at this stage. But 1 year is a minimum rather than an actual obligation that we have. It just means that we can't even consider listing the secondary market until 1 year has passed for regulatory restrictions. When and if we launch it is based upon the progress of the company and the due diligence process and ensuring that the different share classes are in a unified form. Next question.
Question from Anonymous. Would you consider a regular of burning BFT tokens to reduce supply and to create some more oomph around the token?
If you did that, then most cryptocurrency exchanges consider burning tokens a form of an investment product and security, and therefore you risk getting delisted from cryptocurrency exchanges because we were designed as a utility token. So if it would not harm the utility token, then why not? But if it means that you get delisted from every cryptocurrency exchange and you can only be listed on security token exchanges, then we'd rather see a more buoyant security token exchange before we ruin the utility and then end up having it just restricted to the rich and wealthy and accredited and qualifying investors. So I understand what we understand what people would like to see, but it might end up really harming the utility token. And the utility token is really coming into form now. Because for those of you not familiar with the Bank to the Future token, if you have 10,000 Bank to the Future tokens and you put them on your account on Bank to the Future, you get 48-hour priority access to deals. Now, when you're doing companies like Celsius, that becomes really important because, for example, US regulations restrict it to 99 US investors only. So there's a big fight to get those spots. And so 48 hours priority access to deals really, really helps in those more popular deals. If you hold 100,000 Bank to the Future tokens, then you get a 1% kickback on the investments that you make, and details and the terms are in there. But also, if you spend your Bank to the Future tokens on the secondary market for your trading fees, then you get a 50% discount. Now, the Bank to the Future token has appreciated approximately 1,400% on the year due to the increase in volume on the secondary market, and more utility and people becoming premium members and premium plus members so that they can get priority access to these deals and get those kickbacks. So we want to maintain it being a utility token so that it is for use on the platform, and make sure that it's not just becoming an investment vehicle, which would then almost make it a security at that stage. And that would be very detrimental to the utility of the token. Next question.
Question from Sybil. During this podcast, Bank to the Future token has gone up to 0.4142 or over 300%. Where do you see BFT going with this announcement?
I'm not here to give price forecasts on the Bank to the Future token. The Bank to the Future token was designed for use on the platform. Only purchase it if you wish to use it on the platform. That's what it's designed for. So if you want to build an equity portfolio and you want priority access to deals, then this gets you that. If you want to build a portfolio and receive a kickback on your investments while building it, then that's what it's for. And if you want to trade and buy and sell on our secondary market, then you can get a 50% discount, and that supports that.
Guess we've got another similar question. Have you seen what has happened to the token price now? CoinMarketCap.com is 0.24 cents US.
No, I've not been watching the price. We would just, not been watching it. Probably happens during the broadcast. I can pull it up on my phone.
Well, question from Anonymous. Will you have an API integration with parties such as Coinly and other tax reporting services so that we can do our end of year reporting for tax purposes?
Very good question. So we haven't got an integration at this stage. We haven't got it in the roadmap. So unfortunately, we can't promise on that one yet. We are rebuilding the portfolio to make it a lot easier, and we released CSV download features in the fund section of the account so that you can download and get details of your transaction histories there. So that can help, but I think those services offer CSV imports and uploads. So that might help. But thank you. We will add that to the requests and voting for what features people would like to see in the future.
When access for US investors under Reg CF?
We have no plans on doing Reg CF offerings at the moment. That means that the companies would have to be registered. They'd have to go through that. Now, if the companies are willing to go through that process, then we can explore with our US broker-dealer partner how we can offer those. But at this stage, that's fully dependent upon the companies being willing to go through the very aggressive process of qualifying for that type of offering.
Secondary market shares bought, can they appear somehow in the portfolio page, perhaps a new tab?
In the portfolio page, anything bought on the secondary market is currently there. You just have to click on the SPV tab. Now, that is an awful user experience and very confusing, we know, but that's addressed in the next version of the portfolio when we get around to releasing that, but it is currently there. So if you just go over to your portfolio and then you click on the SPV tab, then you can see that there for you.
Hello, when Celsius equity round be on Bank to the Future? Cheers.
As soon as the Celsius team send over that due diligence and the details, we've been chasing them. They've been publicly announcing it. And as soon as we get those details, they are ultra busy with all the growth that's happening within that company. But we're in communications with the team. And as soon as they get it around to us and we get those details, then we'll be putting it live on the platform. So make sure you're prepped up for that. We've also had extreme delays in account signups. There's a 2-week waiting list in order to open an account on Bank to the Future. So make sure you're prepared in advance. You've completed the things that our regulators make us go through with verifications and certifications so that you can avoid disappointment there.
When are we getting a new dashboard to view all our assets and or investments?
I would love to do that right away. We've already designed it. But unfortunately, our regulators have come back to us with a bunch of changes that we need to prioritize again. So it's gone back in the queue. Unfortunately, we have to do the things that our regulators require us to do in order to remain alive. So that's getting a bit of a delay. So we don't have a release date for that, unfortunately.
Is the retirement portfolio builder only available to people who have been through the retirement plan B program?
In the initial phases, it's only available to those that are on retirement plan B, the first group of 500 people. We had to close that off when we hit 500 because we hit capacity that we could handle. And we're going to be beta testing it just with those customers and servicing any demand there. We'll then be doing a second round of those Bank to the Future retirement plan B customers that want to go through the coaching program. And then we'll be looking at how we roll that out and open it up to a much wider audience. But initially, the only way to get in is to be one of the online coaching program members because we want to make sure people fully understand many of the intricate details involved in getting the retirement planning right.
Will the integration technology be built by Bank to the Future or Binance?
It's already built, it's already live. And it was built by us using and working with their as a partner.
Will Bank to the Future start competing to host high-profile coin offerings like CoinList?
We've already done coin offerings. We did a few more recently, like Yield was one of the ones that we offered. I guess during these bull markets, everyone wants coin offerings, and then we see what comes next. During bear markets, no one wants them and everyone moves back to equity. So we already have the ability to do it. The difference is that we will do it as securities in compliance with securities laws, but we already have the features to do that. So if there are good token offerings that you would like to see, then let the team know, and we can see if any of those would like to tap into our investor community for those token offerings.
Is there any companies in the NFT sector going to be listed on Bank to the Future in the near future?
We did one in the past, which was a head start, which is Elysium. And Elysium, they're doing in the near field communication teams. It was co-founded by FC Barcelona's Andreas Iniesta. He was listed as a co-founder. So that's one company that we're seeing. We don't have any others in the pipeline at the moment. We think that NFTs may be a short-term trend. And so we'll see where that goes next. And we'll look for a bit more normalization in the area as that industry grows and evolves.
Okay, we've just got 4 more questions remaining with about just under 15 minutes left. So any of you who have a burning question, scan that QR code or go to slido, sli.do, and enter the code BF2.
Also, while we're here, help us get the YouTube channel a bit more. On the Simon Dixon YouTube channel, we got over 63,000 subscribers. On the Bank to the Future YouTube channel, we got 10,000 subscribers, which would be expected. We're a bit more targeted. We're a bit more niche to those investing, building portfolios in the industry. But if you would like to support the channel, a like a share really helps. And if you know people that are looking to build portfolios in the industry, then please do like and share. And if you're not a subscriber, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell symbol, hit all, so that you don't miss any of these announcements as they go live.
Okay, question from Anonymous. Any staking capabilities for Bank to the Future?
At the moment, the staking is that you get priority access to deal when you put your tokens on the platform. And you also get the kickback when you build a portfolio. But we haven't got any plans for any on-chain staking or anything like that at this stage.
Okay, the next question is related to, I guess it's quite a popular question with US people. But Simon, I'm in the US and I'm a very big fan in the US and wanting to join your community on Bank to the Future. And I'm an accredited investor, so I can join today. I believe in the community and my crypto retirement.
Awesome. Thank you very much for the comment. And please do get yourself accredited on the platform in advance. The restrictions that we have is that you are able to invest in new primary deals that are open to US investors. You're not able to buy on the secondary market, but you are able to sell should any of your investments end up on the secondary market. And for now, you're unable to use the new Binance integration and crypto buying feature at this stage. The RPB product, we have been working with our US legal counsel, our US broker, and also our US tax advisors in order to cross the T's and dot the I's. But if you are a US accredited investor, we're hopeful that these services again are signed off right now as being very useful for US investors.
Okay, question. When will the first new primary deal be going live on Bank to the Future?
We only like to say things when they're actually known, but we are working with 5 companies at the moment. One is going to be a private offering that's due to go live this week. And another one of the companies has a goal to go live next week, but they're also at the same time recording videos, completing due diligence, and sometimes there's additional hurdles when the legal team are going through those docs. So I don't like to give hard dates there because there's a million third parties there that can make things go delayed, and we don't like to disappoint.
Does BF Global own a lot of BFT tokens?
Yes, if you look at the original, if you go to BnkToTheFuture.com and you click on the BF token, the tab on the very top, it will take you to the original token sale page where we disclose the allocations, and 300 million tokens were allocated to BF Global. And we are not pump and dumpers. We have not sold any of those. And you can check the blockchain on that, and those tokens still exist there. So BF Global is through its group, a large token holder in Bank to the Future tokens.
Okay, next question is the idea you buy future equity offerings through a Plan B setup?
So the way that retirement Plan B will be, if you are a qualifying investor, then you are able to allocate some of your retirement plan funds to have on Bank to the Future so that they can be allocated to either primary or secondary offerings, depending on which jurisdiction you reside from. So the goal is to be able to put those into the retirement Plan B product.
A question from Henry. Do you think Dogecoin could burn tokens and place a cap on the number of outstanding tokens?
God, Dogecoin, head over to my Twitter. I gave lots of updates just before the Saturday Night Live fever with Elon Musk on Dogecoin. Dogecoin, if you want to be involved in speculative frenzies, then eat your heart out. But I'm an investor, not a trader, and investor wouldn't touch that. Can't give financial advice. The funny thing is that logic doesn't even apply to our markets half the time. So got no opinions on Dogecoin, said all I needed to say on my Twitter. So make sure you follow me on @SimonDixonTwit. And I've been giving daily updates. And I think it was day 70 or 71 when I gave my thoughts on Doge. So head over to there and you can see the live video on my Twitter feed.
Does Simon or Bank to the Future have any relationship with Block One?
Know the team. No other relationship other than that.
Do you think Celsius could IPO in the next few years?
Celsius's goal is to IPO. That is part of their goal. I think whether they achieve that or not is very driven by the growth of the company, which is on a tremendous growth path. Things that can happen from here. A million things can go wrong with crypto companies. It's high risk, high return investing. And also whether we enter into a bear market in that time frame or bull market at the moment. From what I can see, they are on a good path, but you have to make your own decisions, do your own research. A million things can go wrong. This is high risk, high return investing. But Celsius, to me, I should disclose, I am a shareholder through Bank to the Future in Celsius as well. I try to always disclose my shareholdings. I invest in most deals on Bank to the Future, and Bank to the Future was originally created because I just wanted to build a diversified portfolio and get access to more deals. So I am an investor on the platform. I try to disclose that wherever I remember and wherever possible. I believe that is in part of Celsius' strategic goal is to do an IPO. And I think they're on a good path to get to their goals. But, you got to understand the risks when investing in these asset classes and understand and appreciate that this is very high risk, high return investing.
And the final question, Simon, you mentioned that Celsius investors witnessed 25x returns. Does this apply to both category of shares? When will we get access to those returns?
So returns means paper returns. Paper returns means that when you're investing in private equity, it's typically a minimum 5 years, normal 10-year investment is typical. Now we release secondary markets where investors can release some of those returns, but those are the investors that tend to do the worst because they're too short-term time frame. The returns through Bank to the Future are made in the long-term investor normally. The ones that go through the short term, they tend to send too early, but we can't give financial advice. This is you building your own portfolio. It may be the best thing you did because the company may go bust and be worth zero, or it may do very well and you end up selling too early. That's your decision. But a paper return means that the value of the shares are based upon pricing events. And when a company raises finance, they get valued by professional investors if they're taking on professional investors, and that sets the new price for the company. It doesn't mean you can sell it for that price. It means that the value of the shares based upon the last funding round is that value based upon a real transaction. So in normal terms, if it launches on the secondary market, then the price floor is set based upon the last pricing event. So this sets that new pricing event, and then the secondary market can be released, and that will have a price floor based upon the last pricing event. So that's what that means.
That's it.
Have we done every question? Awesome. Right on the hour. And we got through pretty much every question. So thank you very much for those questions. We'll be back this time next week with more announcements, more important updates. And we look forward to seeing you next week. So that's going to do it for episode 84 of the Bank to the Future, the BF Live. So I sound like Max Kaiser with that. Watched too many episodes of Kaiser Report, but that's going to do it for this episode of Bank to the Future Live. And we'll be seeing you next week for more updates, more announcements, and maybe we can get the Slido board question out a bit earlier so that you can ask your questions in advance. Hopefully we won't have any double link issues or double recording issues next week, but hopefully that all works out, and we'll see you this time next week. Thank you, Azad, for moderating, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.